This is Avinash here. I hope everyone is able to hear me clearly and that my screen is visible. Again, I'm Avinash and I'm with the Zoho Projects team. Thank you for joining us today for the Zoho Projects webinar session. Today we will be covering the getting started part of Zoho Projects, the very basics on how to get your project management processes in place so that we can get all of the necessary users and the projects in place and get your projects up and running. Now, in the future, we'll be coming up with getting ahead, as well as integrations, separate webinars covering separate components of Zoho Projects. We'll be looking into the application as such in a bit more depth. Now, today is going to be for covering all the basics. We'll be looking at all the modules and the capabilities of Zoho Projects. I hope everyone is having a great morning. And in the course of this particular webinar session, if you have any queries, feel free to make use of the chat window that's going to be available on the right-hand side bottom of your screen. I have with me Fred, who's going to be helping out with the queries that you might have. And as always, once you're done with the webinar session, if you have anything after trying things out on your own portal, if you have anything that you'd like to clear up or any queries that might arise out of it, you can always reach us at support@zohoprojects.com. That's support@zohoprojects.com. And without further ado, let's get started with the webinar. Now I'm on the sign up page. It's very straightforward to get started with the Projects app as such. Signing up just requires these 4 fields to be entered. You can either go to zoho.com and click on the Projects application, or zoho.com/projects, or projects.zoho.com. You will land on this page. If you have a login already, you can just click on Login and go directly into your portal. Now, since this is the basics video, I'm going to start with a fresh portal, show you the signing up process. As you see, I have entered the requested fields, just the name, the organization's name, email address, and password. Once you click on sign up, it's just going to take a minute or 2 maximum for you to set up all of the required details for your particular portal. As you see here, the basics would be your company's time zone, the industry with which you're working. I'm just going to select anything random here. And what is the nature of your purpose here, using for project management or just for collaboration? Now, your industry and the purpose is just so that we can keep track and release our future updates based on priority. Once you're done, you will be given the opportunity to click on this button here and start with the Getting Started video. I'm going to skip this since we are already on the webinar session. Voila, we have our portal. Now, this is in the free edition as soon as you sign up. Should you wish to upgrade to the edition that you'd like to purchase, if you've gone through all the various plan details, you can just click on Upgrade and Billing and start with that, upgrade to the appropriate edition. Because in the free edition, you'll have option to create 1 project maximum, and you will have the opportunity to work with very limited features. So ideally, you'd want to look up the plan details and choose according to your organization's needs. Now, since we are on the webinar session, I have already set up a test portal with some data so that we can go over the various information that's required. Now, as you see here, this is going to be a landing page, feeds. Under the home page, feeds will be a landing page every single day that you sign in. Unless you change the landing page to something else, this would be a default landing page, and feeds which will be where you can catch up to whatever activities are going on within your organization. As you see, it has a nice social feel to it. The feeds is similar to your Facebook wall or any other social media wall. You can catch up with various activities, any comments, any edits or events, invoicing being done, any comment that's placed on a task, updating of the completion percentage of a task, or any upload of documents, attachments, all of that information will be available like a single stream of data. Now, should you wish to, you can filter this out based on just the status messages, just the activity stream with the timestamp and who has made the changes. All of that information can be looked at. You can also filter this based on timeline. On the right-hand side, we have some widgets that's going to help out in catching up with whatever is pending and whatever is overdue. So this widget is available both for tasks on top, as well as if you scroll down just a bit, you'll see the same widget is available for bugs. Now you can change the status from whatever is pending and overdue to whatever is in progress, or whatever is unassigned if you want to delegate tasks over to others. Scroll down just a bit more on the right hand side and you'll find the portal details for this particular portal. The basic information like the total stored space allocated for your portal and the total stored space that is currently in use. The company's time zone will also be displayed. Now if you check out the top, you'll find we have for ease of navigation provided some quick add or smart add options. You can post a status message or add a task or a milestone or upload documents, post a forum, or create an event. You can do all of these right from the quick add option. You can also, very similar to any other social media experience, you can just tag users by name and you can add a status message. Now, if you do it just by tagging, everyone will be able to access this. And if this message needs to be private, then just click on this checkbox available here, which will make this a private or direct message, which is only going to be available for the users who are tagged on this particular message. Now that we are done with looking up the landing page, the first thing that we would want to do as soon as we sign up for Zoho projects is to get the user set up. Now this is the all users section where you can look up all the users in your organization and also the client users who have been given access to this particular portal. In Zoho projects, we have two major classifications. The portal users or your internal users who will be working with you on the project. The second classification is client users, which is self-explanatory, your customers or clients for whom you are working on the projects for. Now the internal or the portal users are further classified into admins, managers, employees, and contractors. Admins will be sort of like the highest grade that you can provide, highest role that you can provide. They'll have unlimited access, or unrestricted access rather, across the entire portal. They'll be added to every single project by default, and you will not be able to remove or revoke access for any particular project if they're an admin. Managers, employees, and contractors, however, will be required to be added to the projects in which they are working on before they can gain access to it. If they're not added to any project, then they will not know of its existence even. They cannot look it up in the project's list. They cannot go into the project. They cannot view any of the project's content. Now in the portal user section, it's very straightforward to add the user. Just click on the add user button on the top right. You'll have to enter the email address of the user, select the role, and provide the information about what is the rate that you're going to set for the user. It's optional, but if you want to bill based on staff hours, then you can very well add the user's rate here, which can also be customized per project. Click the projects in which this particular user is supposed to be working, and you can just simply click on add. In order to add a client user, it's very similar, but there's one extra step. Before you can add a client user, you'll have to specify the client's organization. Only the organization's name is mandatory. The remaining information is pretty much for your reference sake, whenever you'd like to look it up. For example, if you have like tens of clients or hundreds of clients, it becomes a real hassle to deal with all of that. So in order to have a better reference point, you can just add those details here and look it up. You can select the projects with which these particular clients are associated, and once you add the client company, it's going to show up like this, black headers. And right next to the client's name or the client company's name, you'll have the plus icon. By clicking on that, you can simply enter the client user by email. So on account of both portal users as well as client users, when you add them by email, what happens is that an invite email will be triggered, and the users can use that email to join the portal. They can set up their credentials if this is the first time that they are joining a Zoho account. If they already have an existing Zoho account, they can use the same password and log into the portal. Now that we have set up the users, the next logical step would be to set up the projects on which they will be working on. This is the projects dashboard, where you'll get the overall picture of how your organization is being run at the moment, what is the current status of the various projects involved. This is the active project screen. For ease of navigation, we have provided the 5 recent projects here, and on top, the 3 tabs that you see here will be the recent projects accessed by your login. You'll have basic portal information such as active projects in your portal at the moment, total number of completed or archived projects, and total number of project templates. If you scroll down, you'll see that you have black headers which are nothing but project groups. As you see on top, the project screen has 2 different views, view by group and view by client. Now, groups are just classifications that you can define. There's no strict rules on how to define your groups. It's entirely based on your comfort level and how your organization would like to classify your projects and structure them accordingly. Once you define them, you can associate projects with specific groups, and you can have all relevant projects grouped under that particular category or the particular group. Now in this view, you'll see that you'll have basic information about the project visible, like the overall completion percentage, the owner of the project, the completion percentage of the tasks, completion percentage of milestones, bugs, start date, and the end date of the project, along with which you can also add any custom fields that you deem fit for your portal, and all of that information can be stored or viewed from this page. The view by client section, the black headers, which were groups in view by group, is going to be basically clients, or the client companies rather. And whatever projects are associated with that particular client company will be listed under the client company, and whatever is ungrouped will be listed under your own organization's name at any given point in time. As and when you add client users or client companies into that particular project, it will be classified automatically. In order to add a new project, it's quite straightforward. Just click on the new project icon on the top right. You'll be asked for the project's name. You'll be asked if you'd like to choose a project template. I've already defined one. If you'd like to preload all of your data, you can very well do that. If you'd like to select the owner, you can do that as well. Select the start date of the project. Make any edits or enter new overview for the project. Select the classification. What is the type of billing method? Is it going to be based on project hours? Is it going to be based on staff hours? And what is the type of budget that you're going to maintain? Is it based on amount or project cost? Is it going to be based on time, project hours? Now at the end, this is very important, the project's access flag. By default, all the projects that you will create will be flagged as private, meaning that they will hold through the notion that managers, employees, and contractors will only be able to access those projects to which they are added. And with the public project, if you flag this project as public, every single user in the organization, in the portal, will have viewership or read-only access. If they need any modification or edit rights, then they'll be required to be a part of that project. Once you add them, they'll gain those rights. But apart from which, any user who's part of this portal will be able to see the public projects. Going over to the template section. Now here you can look up all of the templates that you've created and edit any of the templates that you want to modify or work with. In order to create a new project template, it's very simple. Just click on the new project template here. Now imagine if you're going to be working with similar projects over and over again. If most of the steps are going to be of similar nature, why would you want to set everything up manually every single time? It's much simpler to make them into a template, add all of the basic data like tasks, task lists, milestones, documents, the users who are to be involved, all of those, and set it up as a project template. Once done, while creating the project, simply select the template, click the start date. Based off of the start date, the remaining dates will be calculated, and you can make very minor changes based upon that particular client or that particular situation and get on with working with your projects. As we were seeing, adding a project template is quite simple. Just enter the name of the project template, and if you would like to create it from scratch, just leave it at that and click on Add Project Template, and you can start with adding tasks and other entities. If you would like to copy this over from an existing project, it's very simple. Select any of the project, and click on Add Project here. Based upon the data that is involved within the project, the time might vary. So at any rate, even if it's a really large project, it shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes for it to load all of the data. So as you see, the tasks, task list, milestones, these are preloaded into this particular template here. You can also add any documents, upload this, and while adding the project using this template, all of these information, the users, documents, forums, all of that will be loaded into the project. Now, if you compare to the tabs that you see on the left-hand side, as opposed to an actual project, you'll see that there are a number of tabs that are missing. So it is essentially whatever tabs that you are seeing within the project that is not inside the template is only going to come into picture once your project is active and up and running. For example, calendar. Once you've set up a project based off of the tasks, milestones, and other entities, automatically the calendar events will be populating, calendar entries rather. And timesheets, only after you have completed working on certain tasks or bugs, you will be able to log time, and timesheets can be applied only then. Similarly, only based off of the time that you've worked will you be invoicing and billing the client, so invoices and expenses will not be enabled. So like so, you'll see that whatever is provided within the templates is more than sufficient for loading all of the basic information of the project. Now going to the project settings. Now this is not your settings that you see on the portal level, but rather settings that can be applied to projects here. So you have two separate tabs, or rather sub-tabs. Fields is the first one. You can add any custom fields on a project level from this section. At the moment, these are the types of fields that we support: single line text, multi-line text, a pick list that you can define, a user pick list based off of the users in your portal, numeric fields, date fields. So just to give you an idea as how to use this, I'm just going to add a blog DRI. Selecting the users who are going to be involved. And I have added this particular field. If you go to the active section now, here you'll see that you can add any value to any of these projects. Just edit the project, select who's going to be the DRI, and update. So there's a conflict of date. I'm going to actually edit this one and select the blog DRI. All right, now you see that we have the appropriate person now made in charge of blogs for this particular project. So like this, based on the use cases that you would encounter within your organization, you can add your own custom fields and have them manipulated here. Going over to the Manage Group section, so we've already seen how groups work. It's quite simple to add a new group. Just click on the space here, provide the name, and just click on Create Group. It will be like so. These will act as individual bins, and all you have to do pretty much is to click, drag, and drop. And you'll see that the project has been reclassified. You also have sorting done and save the order as per your requirement. Similarly, the group by client is also available, where you can look up which client has which project associated. And this is the archive project section, where you can look up any of your completed or archive projects. And at any given point in time, if you'd like to rework on them, or if you put a project on hold, just click on the Edit Project option, go to the status, change it back to active, and you can continue working on that particular project. Now this is a test project that we have created. Now that we are inside an actual project, you'll see that the dashboard tab on which we land here is very similar to your feeds. In fact, it's a feed within the scope of this particular project. All edits, modifications, status messages with regards to this particular project can be looked up, and you can comment on any particular ongoing thread or any task, any edits being made, invoicing. All of that information will be available for you to catch up. On the right-hand side, you'll have multiple widgets that are going to help you in catching up really quickly to your project status. For example, the project's progress bar will show the overall progress of the project. If you'd like a summary report, just click on the progress bar. This report will be pulled up, so you can look up the overall completion percentage, the budget of the project, the expended budget, and the balance amount, the planned versus actual number of hours that's remaining, and with the breakup available between what is billable and what is non-billable. You also have information such as the percentage of tasks completed, percentage of task lists completed, percentage of milestones completed, and percentage of bugs completed. You'll also have top 5 users and other basic details. If you'd like to have this report exported and sent out to your vendors or clients, you can very well do that by clicking on the Export as PDF option. On the right-hand side, you see that we also have other widgets like Weekly Digest, Task versus Completion Statuses, Task Progress, People and Project. If you'd like to chat with any of them, just click on their particular profile picture and you can start chatting with them. And if you scroll down a bit, you'll find the project's email alias. So this is an important and an interesting feature. So what this does is it allows you to bring conversation that has taken place outside the system and bring it into the system. So if you are here for this webinar, you have probably been thinking about going from long threads of emails and unorganized sheets of work and having that converted into a workspace where you have the relevant context in place. Or you're already looking for a replacement for your project management app. At any rate, you know how working with long threads of emails goes. You can miss anything easily, any of the important conversations that you have with your clients or any of your partners. Those cannot be allowed to be missed, or even a small delay of a day or two might cost you money at the end of the day. So in order to avoid those situations, we have given this option for you to bring those conversations into the system quite easily. Just click on the pencil icon here, and you will be able to edit and set up the email alias. By default, the first half of this email address would be your company's name. So I have defined this as my company name. Now after the underscore, the long string that you see, the string of numbers, is going to be randomly assigned, and it's unique for each project. You can change it to anything. So we would recommend going with the project's name as such, or an abbreviation if it's too lengthy. At any rate, once you have set this up, you will see that you are given the email aliases generated for statuses, tasks, bugs, uploading documents, and so forth. You can use these to convert any conversation. So for example, if your client has sent out any important information that you would like to cascade to the rest of your team, and you would like to make it a status message, all you need to do is to have the email forwarded to this particular email address. Or if you'd like to have the important documentation that's been sent over to you in your personal email, you can just forward it to the email address here. All attached documents will be uploaded to this particular project. So apart from the widgets that you see here, you can also click on project customization, and you can edit the information about the project, like the name, the owner, start date, due date, whether the overview has to be displayed on the dashboard, what is the type of budget, and all the basic details can be edited right here. And also, if you scroll down just a bit, you'll find the project tab Organize, with which you can rearrange whatever you see on the left-hand side, the UI. You can rearrange the tabs. You can check or uncheck any of the tabs that you do not want to view. At the moment, I have unchecked bugs for this particular project because I do not feel bugs is going to be of value for this particular project. And moreover, we'll be covering the bugs in a separate webinar in the future. So now that we are done with the dashboard, let's go over to the tasks and the milestones section. So tasks and milestones are perhaps the most important tabs inside your project. This is where most of your time setting up the project, or be it working on the project, you're going to spend most of your time in these two tabs. And before you can set up your project, please make sure that you understand the hierarchy clearly and break your projects down appropriately. In projects, the hierarchy goes like this. You have tasks as the basic elements, above which you'll have the task list, above which you'll have the milestones. So milestones are essentially major deliverables or major phases within your project. And right below milestones will come in task lists, which can be used as a means of grouping relevant tasks together or as sub-phases. And below them, you will have tasks, which will be your individual to-do items within your project. Based on your requirement, if it's a complex task, you can have them broken down into multiple levels of subtasks even. It's entirely up to your requirement. So the hierarchy is like a tree. Multiple tasks can be associated with a single task list. Multiple task lists can be associated with a single milestone, and multiple milestones will make up a project. So although you can create the tasks first or the task list first or milestones first, it's highly recommended that you go with a top-down approach. You can create milestones first, then the task list, and then the tasks, so that it is much simpler for you to break your projects down, as well as it will give you a structure that is going to help you out with your reporting purposes. It will be much better for reporting. So for this particular project, I have a few milestones set up. Like you see, it's going to be differentiated as upcoming milestones, completed milestones. If you have anything that's overdue without being completed, there'll also be another classification as overdue milestones. So in order to add a new milestone, it's fairly straightforward. Just click on New Milestone button on the top right. And enter the name of the milestone, click the date, the start date and the due date, and who's going to be the owner for this particular milestone, and whether it has to be flagged as internal or external. Now, why is this important, internal or external? By default, all the data that you see that you set up is going to be flagged as internal and only going to be available for your internal users. Client users, however, will not have access to your internal data. They'll only have access to those data which are flagged as external. So you can flag your milestones or task lists as external and make sure that the associated data is available for the clients to view. So whatever you would like them to participate in or go over to review, those data should be flagged as external. Apart from which, you can also define which tabs are available, as we've seen in the dashboard section, where you can organize your tabs. You can click on client users and you can simply check or uncheck any tabs for the clients. Once you've set up your milestones, you can just click on any particular milestone and you can create your task list from here. This would give you a drill down view. If you go in by clicking on the task list, you can go into the tasks. But it's going to be much more comprehensive if we do it from the tasks page here. The tasks tab has 4 different views: classic, plain, dependency, and Kanban. In the classic view, this is going to give you the most information, the most comprehensive view in the entire application, where you can look at your task list, which are essentially the black headers, and the milestones to which they are associated will be listed in either green or in red. If it's overdue, it's going to be in red. If it's still under progress, then it's going to be in green. And whatever you see in blue are going to be your individual tasks. And whatever you see diagonally placed, these tasks are actually subtasks. For example, SSL is placed diagonally with site setup, so it is a subtask of site setup. So these fields can be manipulated from here. You can select any number of owners for the task. You can set up your start date, due date, edit all of this information right from this view. In order to add a new task or a task list, just click on the button here and select whether you want to add a new task or a task list. Adding a new task is fairly simple. Just provide the name. You want to add the description. Enter the description using the rich text editor. And go back. Click the task list to which it's associated. Who ought to be responsible. And any attachments can be dragged into the space here. Set up the start date, due date, what is the priority of the task. And you can also set up the work hours so that you can plan your schedule accordingly. If you'd like to add a new task list, just click on the new task list icon here. Provide the name of the task list and what is the related milestone that you would like to associate this task list with. If you'd like to choose this from a template, not a project template, but a task template, which is nothing but a list of tasks, you can just click on the template here, select the template that you'd like to work with, and preload all of the tasks using this option. Now, going over to the plain view. The plain view gives you a decluttered view. It's very simple. It will not have the entire hierarchy or the level of detail that you saw with the classic view. However, if you want to deal with a short number of steps, or like 20 tasks involved in the entire project, it's much simpler to go with a plain view, so that all of your tasks and subtasks are just listed under one single list of tasks here, and they're going to be ordered based off of the due date. You can view who's the owner for this particular task. So from both of these, you can just click on any particular task and you'll be taken to the task's details page. So this will give you the utmost detail that you can have about a task, like the comments, and you can collaborate with any of your teammates and have them tagged by name, and you can have collaboration with them, ask them any queries that you might have, or give your inputs on this particular task, ask for updates and so forth. And if you're the one who's working on this particular task, you can just look up the description and get to know what this is all about. And you can look and manage all of the various subtasks involved. Click on the log hours tab and you will be able to see what is the number of hours that's been logged for this particular task until this point in time. You can also look up the various documents which are associated with this particular task. You can always drag and drop documents directly over to the section, or if you've preloaded your documents to the document section, just click on the Associate More icon, select the options that you'd like to attach, and those documents will be added here. Similarly, any forum post that's been posted into the project can be associated with the task and can be looked up from this section. You can view and look up the dependencies here, and any activities, any particular edits, modifications can be looked up from the Activities tab with the timestamp available. On the right-hand side, you have the basic functions of the task. You can mark this as complete. You can delete the task. You can print this entire information, or if you want to add followers and make sure that people get notified regarding this, you can click on Add Followers. You can look up the project to which it's associated, the task list, associated milestones, and other important information. You can also change the owner of the task, start date, due date, set up the duration of the task, whether it ought to be in terms of hours or it's going to be in terms of days, what is the priority of this particular task, and what is the completion percentage. And you can also set up reminders for your task from the page. If you'd like for this particular task to be reminded, if you'd like to be reminded about this task on the same day, you can set it up, or from 2 days prior, or every single day you'd like to get reminders, you can set it up based off of your requirement. And if it's a task that is going to be repeating itself over and over again every single day or every single week, we also have an option to make this as a recurring task. All you need to do is specify whether it's going to be daily, weekly, or monthly, yearly. And you can specify whether it's once in every 3 months, once in every 2 months, once in a month. So pretty much using this option, you can set it up based off of any requirement, and you can save the recurrence. You set it up here. And the last field here is the work hours. So the work hours is going to be within the duration, the span of this particular task. What is the amount of time that you actually intend to work on this particular task? So at the moment, we have provided a work hour detail of 8 hours per day for this particular user. You can have this change to work hours as a percentage of the user's day, or work hours flat across the entire duration. going over to the dependency view. This view is simply used for setting up dependencies between your tasks. So before you can set up dependencies, please note that we only follow finish to start dependency model. So in order to set up dependency, it is prerequisite that the due date of your parent task is prior to the start date of your child or dependent task. Only then will you be able to set up the dependencies. For example, as per the data that we have here, this particular task, task number 5, I'm simply going to make it dependent upon task number 1. I just click on the predecessor cell, enter the predecessor's number, and hit enter. And we have dependency set up here. Going over to the Kanban view, if you guys are familiar with the Kanban structure in any other application, you'll know that it's quite easy to organize large amounts of tasks in a really quick time using the Kanban structure. It's essentially for organizational purposes. It's going to make your life much, much easier when you're dealing with a large amount of tasks. And we have 3 separate Kanbans: Kanban by priority, Kanban by percentage of completion, Kanban by task list. So if you'd like to quickly reorganize, all you need to do is pretty much just click, drag, and drop, and your tasks can be organized with such ease. Just like the classic and the plain view, you can just click on any particular task and you'll be taken into the details page of the task. So if you'd like to have all of this information, whatever you see, filtered based on your requirement, you can make use of the filters available on the top right and filter out based on the criteria that is specified on top. Based off of your requirements, you can filter out the data that is essential and look up the details right within the UI. Or if you'd like this for reporting purposes, you can always export this into XLS or CSV files. Just make sure that you apply the appropriate flags as per your requirement, or appropriate filters rather. And apart from exporting the tasks, we have some inbuilt reporting features available, which will be available in the sub-tab Reports and Gantt charts. Now we have 2 separate Gantts, the chronology Gantt as well as the milestone Gantt. So in the chronology Gantt, as the name implies, it's going to be a Gantt chart that's going to be displayed on the basis of chronological order. So essentially all of your tasks and subtasks will be listed in chronological order. You can look up the information. On the top, you'll find that you can rescale and look up the information on the Gantt chart. You can filter and filter out the information that you require. And it's a fully functional Gantt chart. So it's not just for looking up or just for reporting purposes. If you'd like to have any changes made on the project based off this graphical view, all you pretty much need to do is to just click and drag, and the dates will be changed, the start date and the due date of the task. If you want to extend the duration, just click at the edge, hold and drag, and whatever task that you want to be set up with dependencies, just click, hold, and drag it onto the dependent tasks. So whatever you see on the screen, the blue bars are your tasks, the orange, yellow bars are going to be subtasks, the darker portion is what is completed, the lighter portion is what is yet to be worked on. And the green lines that you see here are the dependencies. If you'd like to remove any particular dependency, just hover over the dependent task, click on the predecessor option, click on the X mark, that will remove the dependency. So now that we are done with the chronology Gantt, we'll go on to the milestone Gantt. Now this is not based on chronological order, but rather based off of your milestones order. And here you will see that apart from the tasks and the subtasks, you also have the milestones which are listed in red bars and the task lists which are listed in the black bars. And as always, the darker portion is what is completed, the lighter portion is what is yet to be worked on. And it functions similarly like the chronology Gantt. It's fully functional. You can click and drag, You can make dependencies between the various tasks. You can span based on your requirement, filter out details as per your requirement. And furthermore, both chronology and milestone Gantt can be exported by converting it to a PDF format file. Now, this is the resource utilization chart. Now, if you'd like to have multiple resources working on multiple projects and you'd like a single view where you can manage them, this is the place for you. So the numbers that you're seeing here are based off of the settings that you have applied for your organization. Now, I have set up a 9 hours a day shift, and it's for 5 days a week. The first column is for the entire week. The consecutive columns are going to be for individual days. What you see here is 45 hours available for the entire week. And whenever a user still has available time, it's going to show up in green. And whenever a user is going to be completely occupied, it's going to show up in blue. Now you can alter the work hours that's allocated using the slider, and you can make changes. And based on the changes that you make, you can have the tasks manipulated. For example, if this task is assigned to the same user and the user is being overworked, and you see that it's going to take quite a lot of overtime for this particular user to complete his work. If you see there's any conflicts, all you need to do is pretty much click, drag, and drop it onto another user. And this user is now having enough time to work with this particular task. And also, apart from this, you can just click on any particular date tile, and if you want to add a new task, you can directly enter it from the resource allocation chart and add new tasks to your users. This is the task reports page where you can look at all the basic reports such as open task by owner, closed task by owner, open task by priority, and open task by milestone. And this is the planned versus actual chart where you can look up all the user-wise breakup of the total amount of hours has been planned for the entire project as opposed to the number of hours logged in until this point in time, and also the remaining number of hours that are yet to be logged will be displayed. If you require a task-wise breakup, just click on the downward arrow. You'll find the breakup task-wise for each user. Going over to the calendar section. Now, the calendar is also a fully functional calendar, just like the Gantt charts. Any edits, modifications that you make is going to automatically reflect on the data, and you can manipulate any of the data by just clicking and dragging on the milestone, which you see in blue, or the task that you see in green. If you'd like to delete any particular entry on the calendar directly, you just hover over and you'll see there's a trash can symbol at the end. You just click on that to delete that particular milestone or that particular task. If you'd like to make new entries, just click on any particular date tile. You'll be able to enter new events, milestones, and tasks. If you have subscribed to the bug tracker or enabled the bugs option, then you will be able to add bugs also from the calendar. For ease of navigation, we have provided on the right-hand side the timeline. You can just click on any particular month or the year and go to that particular point in time. Similarly, filters are available for you to filter out the data that is required. Apart from this calendar, the project's calendar, can be synced with iCalendar, Google Calendar, Microsoft Outlook Calendar, and Zoho Calendar. And in the events page, you can look up all of your future events as well as the ones that have elapsed. You can look up the information here. Just click on the event, not to view the details. and I want to schedule a future event, just click on the Schedule Event button available on the top right. Now this is the document section, the documents repository for this particular project. Each project will have its own repository. You can upload all relevant documents and have them associated not only on a project level but also on a task level. Apart from that, you can have any number of folders or subfolders created. Just right click on any particular folder and create subfolder. You can create a main level folder from here. So just like any other operating system, you can create folder structures as per your requirement. You can also look up your files by file type. You want to filter just the documents, just photos, or anything, you can just filter by file type using the availability on top. And if you'd like to upload new files, it's straightforward. Just click on the new button. If you'd like to upload an entire folder with its contents, you can also do that. You can upload multiple files at the same time. You can create any writers, spreadsheets, or presentations with the native Zoho Docs editor. And any documents that you upload into the system, be it writer, spreadsheet, or presentation, these types of documents can be edited right within the projects app using the native editor. The rest of the applications, or rather the rest of the files, you can always download and re-upload the new version, any edited format. Apart from that, you can also upload from any of your online repositories. These are the repositories that we support: Zoho Docs, Google Docs, Box, OneDrive, and Dropbox. Now, out of all of these four, Zoho Docs, Google Drive, Box, and OneDrive, all offer seamless integration that allows you to quickly transfer your files, or rather make a copy of your files within projects and work with them here. Dropbox, however, we have provided a sync for. A folder-to-folder level sync can be established, and any edits, modifications that you do within the files will be automatically reflecting on Dropbox and vice versa. Now, if you would like to have these documents shared, you can always just right-click on any particular document, click on Share, and mention the type of permissions that you'd like to grant, and you can just have this shared with anyone. Going over to the timesheet section. This is where you can log time for your tasks and your projects. It's very straightforward to log your time here. Just click on Add Log Time. If you'd like to do it for one log each time, just click on Log Time here. Specify the date, the user for whom you're logging the time. Remember that if you're an admin or manager, you'll have the option to log time for any user within the project. If you are a client user or a contractor, or if you are an employee level user, you only have access to log time for yourself. Specify the task for which you're going to log time, enter the notes that you want to put in, specify the number of hours, or you can start and end the time that you worked with, and you can add the log. It will be added here. You can also make a weekly log, which enables you to work with log time for multiple users in a single stretch. Add how many of rows that you want. You just select the tasks, enter for the entire week, and have the logs made in bulk. The timesheet section, we have two separate views. This is the view by date. We also have group by user, which gives you a user-wise breakup, which is always helpful. We have other views for users who would be most inclined to grid view or calendar view, or a pie chart with the breakup of the time logs being made. Going forward with the invoices and expenses section. Now in this section, you will be able to create invoices and add expenses based on your requirement, and this will only be enabled along with the budgeting features if you have integrated with either Zoho Books or Zoho Invoice. It is important to note that you do not require a paid subscription for either Zoho Books or Zoho Invoice. You can directly start the integration with the free account or the trial account on Zoho Invoice or Zoho Books. It will not impact any of your capabilities on the project side, budgeting or invoice and expenses. However, if you like to go over and upgrade any of the accounting side of things, accounting features on Books or Invoice portal, you will have to subscribe to them separately. Now I've created an invoice here. The layout of the invoice is the default the one that we have. I haven't made any changes like logos or change the color of the invoice or anything like that. But that can also be done. You go to the Invoice or Books portal and you can make the changes available. The templates can be tuned from predefined ones, or you can create your own templates and make the layout of your choice. If you want to create an invoice, it's very straightforward. Just click on Create Invoice. Who's the customer who's going to be mentioned here, or who's going to be invoiced for. Select whether it's going to be for timesheets and expenses together or just the expenses that you've logged. And how would you like to sort the data, tasks, bugs, or for the project as such, or for user-specific timesheets? What would you like to show in the item name, the tasks, or the project, or the date range? If you want to list these information on the invoices, you can select what you'd like to see. Select the date range. And we can just go over to the next page. So there is no logout that's available at the moment. We've already created one for this month. So going forward, as and when you log time, you can create invoice. And here on the expenses section, you can log expenses like your travel, electricity, or any such expense. You can define the categories from the invoice or book side, and whatever is available already, you can select, and you can support your expenses with the reference number on the bill or the receipt, and also add any attached supporting documents, and you can file the expenses for this project like so. Going over to the forums section, just like any other online blog or forum section, you can make multiple blog posts or forum posts, and you can just view and collaborate with any of your teammates. This is a test post that we've made. So you can post any of the discussions that you'd like to have or information that you'd like to cascade to your colleagues and have them collaborate on the forum section. As we've seen on the tasks page, it is also easy to have the forums associated on a task level if the discussion is going to be on that particular topic or that particular task. We have the list view, which will list all of the forums in this sort of a view, in the list view, or you can also view it on the expanded view where the entire content is visible for all the forum posts being made. And going over to the chat, or rather pages section. Now pages is a quite an interesting module where you can build your own knowledge base within the project. If you have some highly technical project or any project that requires people to constantly be looking up data from elsewhere, you can have the knowledge base consolidated and created within the project, so they do not have to go elsewhere to look those information up, and saves quite a bit of their time. So for example, this is a page that we have created, and it supports quite a lot of features, and if you have the patience to build a proper knowledge base, you can create and work with a number of the awesome features that is involved in pages. So just to give you a basic idea, while creating the page, will be given these options, whether it has to be a web page on this section here, or it has to be a dashboard with widgets showing up on the dashboard, or file cabinet where you can store your documents, upload or download, or you'd like to import any page from any file that you have on your hard disk, or if you'd like to import it over from your Google account. Now, just to give you an idea, this is a web page that we've created. You can also make it into a sitemap with multiple pages and multiple sub-pages. So just to give you within this web page, what can be done is I've added this as a widget. Just the widget section alone is quite enormous, the scope of what can be achieved. For example, wiki panels from Zoho Wiki can be introduced here. Zoho gadgets like docs, mail, calendar, contacts, notes, discussions, all of these can be included here. Any social tools, presentations from Zoho Show, Zoho Sheets, Zoho Writer, Zoho Calendar widgets, Zoho Creator, which is an app to create new apps and applets, and Zoho Chat. Any of your Zoho Chat snippets can be embedded here, and Zoho Reports can be embedded here to have a live feed of, or a live dashboard of your reports that you funnel from this project, from this application here, or elsewhere, any of your other tools that you might be using. Picasa, Box, and a number of other Google widgets can also be inducted or inserted. And it is pretty much an endless possibility here, since we also have iframes and snippets that you can embed from anywhere, your company's local application that you have developed yourself, or any part of any iframe from your company's website. All of that could be embedded here. And going over to the chat section. Chat is essentially very straightforward. It's like creating any other chat rooms. You'll be asked for the topic name. You can define a name. You can select who are the people who are to be involved. Just select those users, add topic, and they'll be involved in the discussion. Anyone can join who's added just by clicking on the join button. Once you're done, you can also archive your chats so that you can pull up the transcript at any given point in time, even download the transcript. Now the user section, the users who are added are given access to this particular project. I think we already went over this from the home page. Now we're going to quickly skip back to the home page for a quick minute or two. Here, whatever we've covered within the project is going to be available on a master level. My tasks, my milestones, my bugs, my calendar, all of this is going to be a master view across all the projects. The only catch here is the first default landing on any of these pages. You will see that it's going to be applying the me filter, whatever is assigned to you. But if you want to look at anything that's assigned to anyone else, you can just close the filter or apply a filter of your choice and look up the information that is required across the various projects, and you can load them up by scrolling. The same applies for milestones or for bugs or for calendar entries. You can look up all of the view, all of the data, just by using the appropriate filters. And similarly, the reports and Gantt chart section. So this is the reports for across the various projects that we are involved in. So this was the basics webinar for Zoho projects. I hope this was very informative and that you were able to get started with using Zoho projects. We will be coming up, as promised, with future webinars, breaking them down into advanced modules, and integrations will be covered separately. So will the bug tracker, and hope you would be joining us then too. Thank you for your valuable time today. It was a pleasure being your host. This is Avinash signing off. Once again, have a great day. Thank you for joining us.